Unified Mexican heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz responds to the critics that were talking about his appearance and his physique. Stay tuned, coming up next.
Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Unified Mexican heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. has responded to the critics that were, making fun of his physique and his appearance, mainly Stephen A. Smith. He responded to Stephen A. Smith, told him, listen, I know you're a colorful analyst and journalist for ESPN on such a big platform, but hey, listen, you need to do your research before you discuss a topic. Before you talk about a topic, you need to understand the sport of boxing. It's clear that you don't understand the sport of boxing, and you need to go and do your research before you address a topic that you know nothing about. And I agree with Andy Ruiz Jr. Kudos to Andy Ruiz Jr. for responding, man, because a lot of guys wouldn't respond. A lot of guys wouldn't say anything. But I'm happy that Andy Ruiz Jr. responded, and he responded in a classy way. He didn't get overly in his feelings or emotional. He responded in a nice, classy way, got his point across very clearly. And kudos to him, man, because Stephen A. Smith was calling him Butterbean, saying he looks like Butterbean, didn't know nothing about him. He says, how did Anthony Joshua lose to such a guy? So on and so forth. And then he tried to clear it up by stating that, well, I just wanted to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, and now that went down the drain. Okay, so that's one thing to point the finger at Anthony Joshua. It's another thing to call Andy Ruiz out his name and call him Butterbean. His name is Andy Ruiz Jr. To say that, how did Anthony Joshua lose to such a guy and that you knew nothing about? You know nothing about this guy. You probably never ever watched him box a day in your life. And so you're commenting on him, and you're totally oblivious to who he is. You have zero clue who he is, how he could box, and what his record is, right? He has a decorated amateur background, right? He should have 0 losses on his resume. I totally thought that, and most of the boxing world felt that he won the fight with Joseph Parker, but the fight was in Joseph Parker's backyard, and the decision went in Joseph Parker's favor. But with that said, most people felt like Andy Ruiz Jr. won that fight, so he should have been undefeated going into this Anthony Joshua fight. And in all actuality, right, this fight probably would not have never take place because style make fights. And I think that Andy Ruiz is a bad style matchup for Anthony Joshua overall, point blank and period. But with that said, Andy Ruiz would have, if he got the decision versus Joseph Parker, he would have been the WBO champion and went into the fight with Anthony Joshua instead of that fight taking place with Joseph Parker some fights ago. So with that said, you probably wouldn't have gotten to this point anyway if all the chips fell in favor of Andy Ruiz Jr., because he would have got the decision versus Joseph Parker, and he would have been the one that fought Anthony Joshua for the WBO title. And I think that Andy Ruiz had a great shot after seeing the fight and seeing the styles make fights. He's a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua. He's going to be a bad matchup for Anthony Joshua in the rematch. Watch what I tell you. His style is all wrong for Anthony Joshua. He's very active, he's very fast, and he's very good at counter. He has a good ring IQ. He cuts the ring off very well, and he doesn't waste punches, right? And he's going to exchange with Anthony Joshua. And after feeling Anthony Joshua's power already, he's no longer going to fear Anthony Joshua's power. He's no longer going to be hesitant. As he stated, he's going to be a little more calculated, aggressive. He's going to be a little more aggressive, but it's going to be calculated. And his ring IQ is very high. He had like I said, his amateur background was beautiful. I think he only lost maybe 4 or 5 fights, if that, in the amateurs. I believe his record was 135-5. Don't quote me on it. I could be wrong, but I think it was somewhere around there. So this guy is not a slouch to the sport of boxing, and I'm glad that he defended himself and responded back to Stephen A. Smith. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. Andy Ruiz Jr. responds to Stephen A. Smith comments about him being Butterbean, and there's no way Anthony Johnson.
Blue Blood Sport TV, baby, from the